A very pleasant morning to Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Matnik, and everyone else logged on, listening or viewing this morning. A special good morning to members of the media who are joining us. We welcome you all to this Royal Grenada Police Force Yuletide Press Brief. This morning we have 4 presenters. Superintendent Vannie, who is the Administrative Officer responsible for crimes and operations. He will speak on the overall strategic security plan for the Yuletide season. ASP Ryan Hall, who is currently the officer in charge of the Criminal Investigations Department. He will address general security matters. Sergeant Thaddeus Hamilton, attached to the Fire Department, who will speak on fire safety, and Constable Troy Paul, attached to the Traffic Department, who will speak on traffic statistics and general road safety, especially for the Yuletide season. The program this morning will follow the usual format. We will have the presentations, after which we'll invite questions from members of the media. So we get right into the program, the presentations. And I now invite Superintendent Curwen to make his presentation.
Thank you very much, ASP Douglas, and good morning to Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Matnik. It's indeed another pleasure to be with you on a strategic overview for Christmas 2022. As the Executive Officer responsible for crimes in the RGPF and also currently shouldering the responsibilities for operations, in the absence of the substantive portfolio holder, it is important for me to update you on the state of crimes within our country and to speak to our operational responses calculated to reassure the public of the RGPF effort to keep you safe during this period as we approach the Christmas season. In recent weeks, we have witnessed an upsurge in crimes of opportunities, especially robberies. Commencing with the heist of a substantial sum from an establishment in St. David's, to the assault on businesses in Calais, the Tongue of St. George, and more recently at Wester Hall in St. David's. Additionally, we continue to receive calls for services with respect to property crimes generally, traffic accidents, violent assaults, and predial larceny, while at the same time keeping our eyes on the trend of illegal firearms and ammunition. These incidents have disrupted the peace and tranquility of our generally peaceful island. Nevertheless, as the country's foremost security outfit, we have responded to these and other incidents with a measure of success. Though we are yet to solve the 2 incidents in St. David's, we are happy to report that the perpetrators of the Calais and Foodland robberies have been arrested and charged, and a substantial amount of monies involved were recovered. We are confident that we will have similar successes in the other outstanding matters. Therefore, we beg of you, members of the public, who may have information that can lead to the arrest and prosecution of these criminals, to assist the RGPF in bringing them to justice. On the other hand, our farmers have been affected by losses to produce and livestock as the demand for these commodities increases during the season. We continue to see high incidence of traffic accidents on our nation's road, a trend that is likely to continue as we celebrate the season. Nevertheless, it is the intention of the Royal Grenada Police Force to ensure a safe and secure environment for businesses, visitors, and members of the public to enjoy the festive season free of the perception and fear of crime through the harmonized efforts of all of our departments. We have recently launched our Yuletide security operation to bring greater comfort to our citizens and visitors. Therefore, you will see a greater security presence in our towns and communities as we heighten our awareness and responses to the challenges that we currently face. We may disrupt your desire to traverse the country without delays, but this becomes necessary in order to keep you safe. We have activated all of our security measures and are confident in our ability to keep Grenada and Grenadians safe during this period. It is critical to note that these robberies have not appeared to be associated with organized criminal activities, but are the works of individuals who took advantage of opportunities presented to them in the absence of hardened targets. As a consequence, we have started meeting with business owners to discuss their own safety and security and that of the staff and establishment, and have mandated our divisional commanders to engage the communities in similar manner. Business owners wishing to engage with us in this manner are encouraged to do so. The concept of our operations at this time is to ensure that effective and efficient proactive and reactive policing strategies are implemented throughout Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique to reduce crimes and disorder during the Yuletide season. Our operational activities includes, but not limited to, the following. A campaign against loud music in homes and vehicles, a campaign against speeding, campaign against unlawful, dark tint, and unregulated lights and other infringements and additions to motor vehicles, or zero tolerance policies for offensive weapons, including unlawful firearms and ammunition, a campaign against drunk driving, and our zero tolerance in illegal drugs. Let me take this opportunity to express the RGPF thanks to the citizens of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique for the partnership we have shared and for your invaluable contributions towards the successes we have had in the efforts of solving crime. As we get into the festive season, I urge you to be responsible as a driver, drinker, home and business owner, pedestrian, all and sundry. Season's greetings, and may God richly bless us all as a nation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Curwen. I now invite ASP Hall to make his presentation.
Good morning to everyone. Thank you, ASP Douglas, Superintendent Curwen, officer in charge of crime operation, other members of the panel, general public, the media at all, and good morning. In order for a crime to be committed, there must be three elements basically that must be present. And we look at the ability to commit the crime, the desire to commit the crime, and the opportunity to commit the crime. If any of these elements is being destroyed, then it's automatically become impossible for that crime to be committed. Over the years, the Royal Grenada Police Force had embarked on several drives, community policing drive, to really eradicate the desire. However, it has proven to be very difficult, and we still find that 1% of the population who are bent on committing crimes. It is in this light that we try to educate the next 99% as to how to protect their property. And we have looked at several target hardening measures that we can implement. So it's my opportunity really now to really educate the public, that 100%, as to how they can protect themselves, their homes, their vehicles, and general property. If we are looking at your home, there are a number of strategies that we have developed as an organization. I must say that the Royal Grenada Police Force has developed a pamphlet which has many safety tips that we distribute from time to time to the general public to educate you as to how you can protect your homes. And we have seen over the years that persons want to be seen on social media. So you are leaving home, you let the public know that you are out. You have jewelry, and so you want the public to know that you have these items. Whatever electronic stuff you have, you want the public to know. This is dangerous, and you are attracting persons to your home. Persons want these items. These are the items that are of concern that persons tend to break houses for. Keep your travel plans off social media. Again, wherever you go in, persons want the public to know that they are out of their home, they go into St. George's. They want the public to see how they dress. So they let the public know that, hey, nobody is at home now, the opportunity is there to enter my home. Let a neighbor know that you are not at your home. It's good to have a good relationship with your neighbor. So when you are out, someone can keep a watch for you. In the absence of you being home, somebody else close by can look and see what is happening at your home. But you must have a good relationship with your neighbors. Make your house look like there is someone at home. always create that light. If you are going out in the night, probably leave a light in your house. So the public, whoever perpetrator, whoever has the intent, can be of the impression that somebody is at home. Do not keep large sums of cash at home. You want to, in case somebody get into your house, you don't want them to get your cash. So you keep your cash in the bank. Avoid leaving ladders and so around your house, making it easy for the perpetrator to access your house. Close your windows. Make sure you close your windows and your doors. We have seen over the years that person tend to believe that they can leave their window open with the screen, the insect screen on, and thinking that their house is secured. This is impossible. Someone just have to bust that insect screen and can enter your house. It is not secured by doing that. The regular thing, have persons leaving keys under the mat. You never know who is close by and looking in, and somebody can easily gain access by means of your keys, which you might leave for a next occupant of the house who is out. In terms of personal safety, when in public, if you have a large amount of cash or other valuables, try to secure it discreetly. Don't go in the public and let everybody see that you are securing your items and where you are securing it. You are just exposing yourself, and they know which part of your body and which part of your vehicle you are leaving it. Avoid using ATM at night alone. If you are going to the ATM machine, ensure that you have someone else with you and that can provide that form of security for you while you are withdrawing your cash. Do not leave bags with children unattended. You might go to a function and you have a child, you might leave your bags with them and thinking that it is secure. That child may not be in a position to really deal effectively with someone that is coming and steal your cash. Again, we have persons walking at night and they tend to walk alone. This is dangerous, so we advise persons to try and walk in company. Plan ahead for your night outgoing. Make sure that if you are going to an activity that you know how you are getting back. We see persons again after events by the side of the road, flogging a ride, trying to ensure that they get back home safely. This is dangerous. In terms of your vehicle safety, we advise you, if you try to ensure that you can park your vehicle in a well-lit area. Keep shopping bags, cell phone, tablets, purse, backpacks and other personal property out of sight in your vehicle. You don't want to reach on the side and leave your vehicle, your items on the front seat where everybody could just peep into the glass and see what is in your vehicle. You are just attracting and creating that opportunity for thieves. Ensure your doors are properly locked, your windows are up, and your vehicle is properly secure. In terms of businesses, we advise that you ensure your compound is well lit and you can see from a distance if anybody is entering your compound. We advise that you try to employ CCTV, have CCTV on your compound, employ security, other additional security personnel that can be of assistance to you. There are many advantages of having CCTV on your compound. CCTV can aid as a means of reference, just in case that no one would have seen an intruder or perpetrator. You can always go back to your CCTV to get that information that can greatly assist the police in the investigation down the line. And it saves you a lot of cash in the future. In the beginning, it may appear to be costly to you, but the benefits down the line, it will be great for you. Have persons do night safety deposits, rotate it periodically. You don't want to be going to deposit your cash one specific time. You need to stagger it, go different time. You never know again who is monitoring you, and someone can realize that you have a particular pattern of going and deposit your cash. If there are persons loitering around your business places, you need to get rid of them. Notify the police so that you can get that assistance to get them off your compound. These persons around your compound, they are very observant. They watch what takes place. They watch what time you go out, how you secure your place, and they see opportunities that you may fall short on. I spoke on the cameras, and I just want to re-emphasize the importance of having CCTV on your compound. It's very important that we try to ensure that we have CCTV. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, ASP Hall. And I now turn over to Sergeant Hamilton from the Fire Department to make his presentation.
Thank you very much, ASP Douglas. Superintendent Curwen, Officer in charge of Operations, ASP Hall, Officer in charge of CID, ladies and gentlemen of the media, good morning. The Christmas season is here once again, and it is one of the most celebrated festivities of the year. This time of the year brings out many rituals, such as decorating the Christmas tree, lights and songs of the holidays, and so forth. Traditionally, there is an increase in fires, especially house fires, during this holiday season. With this in mind, the fire department think it is important that we share with you some basic fire prevention and safety tips to ensure that your holiday season is merry and bright and is not marred by the occurrence of fire. We're going to look at it in various ways. First of all, we're going to look at electrical safety. We're going to look at cooking safety. And then we're going to look at Christmas decorations, followed by general fire safety. Electrical fires. One of the basic principles we encourage persons to do is to avoid overloading your electrical sockets. Overloading your electrical socket can result in a fire or damage to your equipment. 2, if you realize in your home, each time you plug in an appliance, the breaker trips or falls, then you have some problem with the equipment. It's either the wattage is too heavy, you need to get a qualified electrician to have your electrical system throughout your house checked. Things like flat irons, curling pins, and so forth should be unplugged soon as you finish using them. Fans. Fans contribute a lot to structural fires. And what we realize with the fans is that sometimes they are not working properly. And the homeowner will remove the cabinet or the cage around the fan, and they will try to jumpstart it by spinning the propeller and so forth. We encourage you that if your fan is not working properly, have it checked out by a qualified electrician or to replace it. If you're using a fan in a room and you have to leave the room, please turn off the fan. Do not leave home with your fan spinning. Relative to electrical sockets, all non-essential equipment should be unplugged. So you finish using your charger for your mobile phone, you unplug it. Relative to blown fuse, there is this common practice where we use a piece of foil paper or a piece of wire and we bridge the fuse. I'm asking you, please, have the fuse replaced with one of the similar ratings. If for one reason some appliance in your house that is electrically energized catches a fire, there are certain principles you have to follow. First of all, you need to de-energize the unit. And when I say de-energize, I mean unplugging it and taking off the electricity. If you're afraid to do so, then you can reach to the main switch and turn off the main switch, thus killing all electrical supply within the house. In fact, what I encourage persons when they live in home, the only item you should left plugged on is your refrigerator. All non-essential items should be unplugged once it's not in use. In relation to kitchen safety, the kitchen is considered to be the engine room of the house, especially at Christmas times. We have prolonged cooking, prolonged baking, and so forth. But before you start the process, there are some basic steps that you must follow. 1. Carry out an inspection of your stove to ensure that it's in good condition for prolonged baking and cooking. Check your burners, the knobs, to ensure that there is no seepage or leakage of gas. The caps for the burners, ensure that they are fitting snugly on the stove. If you're using a 20-pound cylinder, make sure that you use the approved connection in terms of hose, because there are instances where people use ordinary garden hose in those instances. Yes? Check your oven to make sure that all the fittings inside are in good condition. If while you're going through the process, you realize that you have a problem, then you need to get the service of a qualified stove repair technician to address it. The principle for lighting the stove remains the same. I know now we have stoves that are electrically ignited and so forth, but if you have the basic stove that uses a match, always remember, you strike the match first and then you bring it to the burner, then you turn on the gas. If you don't follow that principle, you turn on the gas, then you go to look for the matches to return. What is likely to happen is that there's going to be a large portion of gas in the atmosphere, and as you strike the match, you're going to have a spontaneous ignition, which can result in you sustaining burns. The same principle applies for the oven. Yes? Always strike your match before you open the oven. You strike your match, you approach. You turn on, you light. Yes? Don't turn on the oven first and then leave it for a few seconds and light. You're going to have an explosion, a spontaneous ignition, which can result in you suffering serious burns, but probably not only you, but other persons within the household. When you're leaving home, relative to your stove, make sure that you turn off the gas. If you have a 20-pound cylinder, you can turn it off at the regulator. If you have a 100-pound cylinder, you can turn it off at the back of the stove. If you go out for some period of time and you return home and you realize that you're getting a strong smell of gas, it is highly likely that probably you have a gas leak. There are some safety principles as a homeowner you must follow. 1, do not put on any lights. Don't use your mobile phone. All right? If you use the light or you use your mobile phone, it is highly likely you could have spontaneous ignition because of the amount of gas that is in the atmosphere. You must also take in mind that LPG in its pure state has no smell, but because of its volatility, the manufacturers put this material or chemical in it that gives it that pungent odor, so you would recognize it early. If it is safe to do so, you get a wet cloth and you cover your nose and you make your way to the kitchen. That's as if you have a 20-pound cylinder. But if you have a 100-pound cylinder, you can go to wherever the cylinder is located and switch off the valve, right? Stay at the outside and call the fire department. A team or a unit will respond to assist you. If you are cooking and your stove flare up for whatever reason, there are some basic principles you can use to suppress the fire. 1, you could use a pot cover or what is properly referred to as a lid over the frying pan or pot to cover it. 2, if you have a wet bag, a wet crocker's bag, you could use that to cover the stove. If you have a large supply of baking powder, you can also use that. For fires involving frying pans and so forth, do not use water. Water will escalate the fire, and it's highly likely that you can sustain some forms of burn or injury. Or the fire can escalate beyond its point, igniting the curtain. So we always advise persons that you do not have curtains near your stove. When you're cooking, try and make sure that you organize everything in an orderly manner. Avoid wearing loose-fitted clothing because it can easily come in contact with the flames given off from the stove, and it can ignite. Your frying pans and so forth, turn the handle inwards. This prevents, in case your child or children is in the kitchen, from them coming in contact with the material falling on them and they sustaining burns and so forth. It's also good for you as the homeowner because it reduces the possibility of you getting burned. Yes? So always remember when you're leaving home, after you finish use your stove, to turn off the gas. When you're leaving home, you turn off the gas. Make sure that you don't leave matches, lighters, and any other thing that can spark a fire where children can reach them. And I want to extend it also to some elderly persons who are not who are having mental challenges. Yes? Relative to Christmas decoration. If you have your lights stored from last Christmas season and you intend to use it for this Christmas season, as you unbox it, take your time, go through it carefully. Check your lights or the wires to see if there is any frayed wires or if there is any loose bulbs. My suggestion, if you have frayed wires or areas where it is broken, is that you replace it soonest. If there is bulbs that are missing and you don't have the bulbs, please purchase new ones. All right? When you're buying Christmas lights, make sure they are approved. They have a UL ratings or a C ratings. While lights look beautiful at night, but they also possess a risk or a hazard to your home. When you're going to sleep at night, please unplug your lights. If you're leaving home to go outside for 5 minutes, unplug your lights. What happens with those lights is after a period of time, they superheat and they can ignite. They might be looking nice and beautiful. Again, relative to lights, there are lights that are designed for indoor purposes and outdoor purposes. So make sure if you're going to use outdoor lights that you buy the lights that are designed for outdoor purposes. They are much more water resistant, thus reducing the risk of electrical fire on the outside. Decoration for your Christmas tree. You're living in a small island state, and most people will find it difficult to purchase fire-resistant decorations, but it's one of the best things you can do. Right? The ordinary paper or the ordinary decorations that are sold in the store, if you have a fire occurring on your Christmas tree, your tree, the fire will grow and develop and spread rapidly. So that's why we ask you that, to use those type of decorations. If you're going to use an artificial tree, right, make sure that it has a fire-resistant ratings. Sometimes we go about and we just buy stuff and we bring home, right? And then what happens is this: we are creating the enabling environment for a fire to grow and thrive. For the persons who are using live trees, you want to place your tree in a nice, secure corner of your house. You could get a bucket and you could put some water at the bottom of it. The water will help sustain the tree's life during the period to remain green. If you realize that over a period of time the leaves on the tree start dropping, it is the ideal time to take down that tree and dispose of it. Yes? Something that we see in our island these days is the use of candles as part of Christmas and other decorations. Yes? While they look beautiful, but they come with a level of risk. If you're using a candle in a room and you have to leave the room, please out the candle. Do not leave lighted candles where children can reach them. Children are fascinated by fire. Sometimes they put a piece of paper to the flame and they go underneath the bed and it results in a fire. Persons who are using things like mosquito destroyers and so forth, yes, make sure that you properly extinguish them before you leave the home. Wrapping up now with some general fire safety rules. Always remember that a fire can occur at any time. However, if you're home and a fire do occur, there are certain things that you need to do. One, you need to remain calm. Notice a fire, alert everyone in the house. Have someone call 911 and report the fire. So what we realize most times is that people attempt to put out the fire, and when the attempts fail, they tend to call the fire department. Yes? Do yourself a favor for this Christmas season. You buy all sorts of fancy items and gadgets for your home. Give your home a special gift this Christmas. Purchase yourself a fire extinguisher or a smoke alarm. Right? A fire extinguisher is an apparatus used to extinguish fire in its initial stage. And if you have that and you are present, it will put out the fire once it's in its initial stage. Smoke alarms, they are what we refer to in firefighting as early warning devices. We encourage homeowners to invest in a smoke alarm. Each room in your house should be outfitted with a smoke alarm. And for your kitchen, because of the amount of cooking and so forth that takes place there, we encourage you to purchase a heat detector. The smoke alarms, some are battery operated and some are wired within your system. So just as how you have your closed circuit television that gives you an alert when someone passes by your window or your door, the system can be so wired to give you that alert. Right? We spend an astronomical sum of monies building fancy houses, but we are building them to burn. We're not putting the necessary fire safety devices in those houses. And as we come closer to the Christmas season, I want to encourage all families to have in place what we refer to as a home emergency plan. There is something in firefighting that we refer to as EDIT, exit drill in the home. So each family should practice an evacuation drill. Task persons with responsibilities. Know where your assembly point is. Know who is to call the fire department. If someone close catches a fire, have that person stop, drop, and roll so that the fire can be extinguished. If you need further advice on fire safety, do not hesitate to contact the nearest fire station to you. Thank you very much.
We thank you very much, Sergeant Hamilton. And at this time, we invite Constable Paul to make his presentation.
Thank you very much, ASP Simon Douglas. To the head table, ASP Superintendent Vannie Curwen, ASP Hall, and Sergeant Hamilton. My responsibility this morning is to speak to you on the many issues that the traffic department faces. And the Yuletide season is here, and with no exception, the traffic department has its responsibility. And we're here to make our roads safe for all road users. Notwithstanding, we also have our challenges around this period where we have one of those being traffic congestion being one, and also a heighten in the number of accidents on our nation's road. To start, I will start with some of the statistics for the year 2022 as it relates to accidents for the state of Grenada. So far, we have a total of 2,428 road accidents. Out of those, we have 7 which resulted in road fatality. For the year, compared to the year 2021, for this period, we had 2,159. So we already see an excess of 269 road accidents. That is way too much. And one accident is too many in terms of a lot of factors. Some of those contributing factors to those accidents, we have speeding, the excessive use of alcohol, driving under the influence, distracted driving, using cell phones and other distractions while you're driving on our road, tailgating, driving too close to the vehicle in front of you, and we also seen mechanical defects in vehicles, brake failures and other parts of the vehicle that causes it to stopping mechanism and other mechanical aspect which causes a vehicle to lose control, etc. The traffic department also, as I have alluded to, we've seen around this time a lot of traffic congestion during the Yuletide season, the Christmas season. A lot of vehicles in our towns and cities, and with the traffic congestion, there's a lot of implications that can happen in relation to that, as well as a slowdown in productivity in some businesses as well. But we at the traffic department, we have devised operation for the Yuletide season, and one of those is heightening in patrols, foot patrols, mobile patrols, and also motorcycle patrols in and around the town of St. George's and all our towns in Grenada. With those patrols, you will see speed checks will be at various places, checking, ensuring that persons do not exceed the speed limit, and also on accident scenes, persons will be subjected to breathalyzer tests as long as we smell alcohol in your breath or you're not, or other tests which can detect whether or not persons can be under the influence. Also, we have embarked on road safety drives where we have media programs, because we want to start with education, and education plays an important part in terms of reduction of road accidents and also offenses we see occurring on our nation's road. So you will see heighten along that line as well. Also, operations in terms of traffic checks, we will be out there ensuring that persons adhere to our road traffic regulations, rules, and in terms of driving on our nation's road. So you will see us there both day and night, and don't say that we are harassing you. We are doing our due diligence to the state and ensuring that our roads are safe for all road users. So expect a little delay sometimes if there is a traffic check in that area. Also, in the Yuletide season, we also see a heighten in the amount of stolen vehicles reports. And persons may leave their vehicle to run in stores, etc., leave the key in your ignitions and so on. And when you come back, your vehicle is nowhere to be found. You want to implore persons that properly secure your vehicle properly. And if you have to park in areas, park in well-lit areas, and where your vehicle can be seen by others as well. pedestrians continue to be an issue in relation to how they use our pedestrian crossing and our roadway, especially in the town of St. George's. We see the persons crossing our roadways anyhow, the misuse of our pedestrian crossing, especially in front of the bus terminus and other areas in the town. If there's pedestrian crossing provided, we just want to implore on pedestrians to please use the pedestrian crossing and also our sidewalks. We know that at that time shopping will be at its highest and our sidewalks will be congested, but however, be a little bit patient and use the sidewalks rather than walking out into the road. And sometimes persons walk out in the road unexpectedly and we have unwanted pedestrian accidents. You too as pedestrians have a role to play in road safety, and we just want to implore on you to use pedestrian crossing, use sidewalks, and also cross in safe places for your safety. Road safety is everybody's business. Even passengers who use those buses, omnibuses, along the roadways, we see them driving improperly, overtaking, and you have your responsibility. If you observe things like these, you call the traffic department, you call 911, and you report those actions of these drivers. Because we can see out of these actions, we may have road accidents which may result to road fatalities. And I gave the stats earlier, and we do not want persons to be victims of road fatality, victims or statistics of road accidents. So you do your part. If you observe these actions by drivers, call the traffic department, come in, give us a statement, and we will take the necessary actions against these drivers. We also see a rise in driving under the influence of alcohol around the Yuletide season. And we do not want persons to think that it is okay to drive under the influence, or we have persons drunken driving along our nation's road. We need to send that message to drivers that if you go at an event, you consume alcohol, make sure that you have a designated driver. You can also, if you believe that you're intoxicated, park your vehicle up in a safe and allow somebody to park your vehicle in a safe place, and you take a taxi or get a ride to get home. What we do not want is persons to be under the influence. You're going home because alcohol gives persons a false sense of judgment. And with that, persons tend to speed because they think that they're driving at a normal pace. So if you believe that you're intoxicated, please remember those tips that I shared with you, because we don't want, we visit an accident scene and we smell alcohol in your breath, or we ask that you perform a sobriety test and you cannot meet the requirements. And the end result, you found under the influence of alcohol, you can be arrested and charged for the offense. And persons, you failing to provide that specimen to the officer when required, you can also be arrested and charged. So with these said, we just want to implore on the public, drivers, pedestrians, cyclists, passengers, we all have a respective role to play in road safety. And let us do that. Drivers drive safely, pedestrians, we walk on our pedestrian in the designated areas, and passengers report those unwanted driving from the drivers on our nation's road. So on that note, the traffic department will continue to make our roads safe for all road users. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Constable Paul. At this time, we will invite questions from the media. We wish to inform you, however, that we would like to give everyone an opportunity, so we ask you to keep your questions limited to 2 and keep them as brief as possible. Thank you very much. So we now invite your questions. You can indicate if you wish to ask a question. Okay, so we invite the representative from GBN to ask your question.
Hi, yes, this is Rena Pierre Thomas from GBN. Are you hearing me clearly? Hello?
Yes, go ahead with your question, please.
All right. So my two questions, sorry. One is relating to a recent situation with a false call of robbery recently. Can you tell us the penalty for persons who would do these kinds of action by calling and giving a false report of robbery? And how would this affect the operation of the RGPF? As well as, can you give us a tip for pickpocketers? Do we have much of that sort of crime happening in Grenada? And what are some of the tips persons can look out for the Utica season?
Thank you very much for your question. I am going to address the part of your question that deals with a false call, and Mr. Hall is going to address the part of your question that deals with the pickpocketing. And I want to categorically say that what happened yesterday evening is not necessarily a false call. We did not have a robbery, that is true. But we welcome the call that we received. There was an incident, and somebody thought it was a robbery and called the police. A number of the media outlets had put bulletins out, and we've had to put out a statement last night to retract, asking them to retract the statement and notifying the public that we did not actually have a robbery. But we do not want to curtail this kind of behavior. We become concerned when it is malicious. But in a case as last night, we welcome that because it could have been what it was reported to be. God forbid that it was not that. But had it been that, the call was welcome. We responded very timely. We got on the scene as early as we could have. And having done our initial assessment, it was determined that it was not a robbery. So you talk about penalties, and I want to say to the public that it's not generally, was not generally a malicious call last night. It was just a call reporting something that did not actually happen. But Section 15 of our Electronic Crimes Act does provide the penalties for which one can be charged should they maliciously called and report incidents that did not occur. So I want to say I've seen a number of social media sites, Ride Along and others, have within minutes of the call put out information. We're not decrying that in any particular way. In fact, we welcome those kind of initiatives that assist law enforcement in ensuring that information gets out. And we have a responsibility to ensure that when it did not turn out to be what it was, that we immediately say to the public what actually had happened. And within quick time last night, we were able to release some information to the public saying that we did not actually have a robbery. So I want to say to the public that we did not have a robbery last night, but the information was not malicious. It was just mistaken as to what has occurred.
Thank you very much. As it relates to the second question, the pickpocketing issue, I think it's a very important question, taking into consideration the normal influx of people that we will have over the Yuletide season, persons shopping, and we have everybody trying to shop at the last minute. However, what we advise is that try and avoid being in crowds. Keep your cash, a wallet, a purse in your front pocket. Do not go into shop and tend to take out all your cash in front of the public. Let everybody see that you have a lot of cash. In the event that you have to move with a lot of cash, separate it. You could put some in one pocket, divide it. Don't keep all in one area. Ladies in general who tend to have these bags with the long strap, you are making it easy for a person to snatch your bag and run away. So try to use shorter bags that you can keep around your arms, and always have your bag and purse properly secured and hold tightly as you move along. And try to always, if you go in and shop, have somebody else along with you. Avoid being alone. Most of the times, these opportunities created because you are alone and someone see the opportunity. You have your bag loosely around, and you're not aware of the fact that somebody else is looking at you. So if you employ these strategies as it relates to pickpocketing, I think we can eliminate that opportunity and eradicate that offense for the Yuletide season. Thank you very much.
I just want to come back on the question that was asked about the penalties for the prank calls. Under the Electronic Crimes Act, one who is found guilty of prank call to law enforcement, there is a fine of $5,000 or imprisonment for 6 months, or both fined and imprisonment. So these are serious issues. When you call the police to report things that did not actually happen, it is an offense, and the penalty under the law is very stringent. It's $5,000, 6 months in prison, or both fine and confine. I just thought I wanted to come back with this.
Okay, I hope we've answered your question, Ms. Spear, or Mrs. Thomas. Sorry. Does anyone else have a question? Okay, Ms. Straker, please go ahead with your question.
Good morning to you and everyone on the panel. My question is initially to Mr. Curwen. He mentioned that there was no robbery, but there was an incident. Can you tell us what actually happened? And was the call from someone close to the scene, on the scene, or someone who was directly affected by whatever happened?
Thanks for your question, Ms. Straker. There was an altercation outside the business place that was reported to have been the victim of the robbery last night. It was not a robbery. There was an altercation between two persons. The particular vehicle that was spoken of was on the scene, and that vehicle drove off speedily. I guess that raised the whole concern as to what was actually happening, and the person who actually made the call was somebody who was close to the scene, but certainly was not apprised of all of the situations that was happening as it happened. And I want to give credit to that person. I don't think in any way, shape, or form we should, water down the what has happened last night. Better the call come in and it is mistaken than it did not come in at all and it was actually a robbery. So that person was close to the scene, but they was not totally apprised of all of what was happening. So that is what happened last night.
Just a follow-up for clarity. Did this happen on the Lansing Main Road, or it happened on the Chublu Street, I think, with Morris Bishop Highway?
Yes, it happened at the Morris Bishop Highway.
There are two entities with similar names there on this street, on this location. Where did you say?
It happened at the Morris Bishop Highway.
Okay. Thank you for that. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Straker. Any other questions from the media?
Yes, I do have another question. The gentleman from Fire, can he share with us, if he have it at hand, or probably can give us sometime after, data of Fire for the past, with regard to the Christmas season for the past 3 years or more, and what is the number of fires we would have had in Grenada for the year so far? In his presentation, he made mention of a lot of the causes of fires are fans. How did the fire authority came to determine that? What caused them to determine that a majority of the fires are as a result of fans?
Thank you very much, Ms. Stricker, for your question. Relative to fire data, for the period January to September of this year, we have realized a 3.1% decrease in the amount of fires. Let me just go through and give you an overall picture of the data from January to September of this year comparing to the same period of 2021. In terms of dwelling house fires, we had a total of 39 for 2022 thus far compared to 48 in 2021. Business houses, 2022, we have 13 compared to 8 in 2021. Electrical fires, we have 14 compared to 15 in 2021. Vehicular fires, we have a total of 15 for 2022 compared to 8 in 2021. Bushfires, we had a total of 44 compared to 56. Rubbish, a total of 62 compared to, that's for 62 for 2022, compared to in 2021 we had a total of 63. Fires involving cultivated property, last year we had no reports of such. However, this year we have one thus far. Fires involving boat, same as 2022 to 21, it remains at 1. And relative to fire that we categorize as other, we have a total of 27 thus far for 2022 compared to 16 of 2021. In terms of reports that we deem to as false calls, so far we have a total of 4 calls for this year compared to 7 for last year. So the total for 2022 is 216. 2021, 223. Relative to the second part of your question pertaining to the use of fan, what I said was that fans contribute to several house fires. It is not the leading cause. That is why I speak clearly as to give advice on how to care your fan. You must always clean your fan. Make sure the back of the fan is properly cleaned, the propellers are cleaned, the vents are clean. If it's not functioning properly, you need to have it replaced. Or if it's possible, you can repair it, have it repaired. Yes? From investigation carried out by our investigators in several house fires, an electrical fan was identified as the origin of the fire. I cannot give you the data as to say how much, but there are instances where the investigation revealed the fire was a result of a faulty or malfunctioning electrical fan or fan left unattended.
Okay, thank you very much for your questions. And if there are no more questions from the media.
I do have another question. Can I?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yes, my question is, when did the Yuletide operation started and when it would officially deactivate? And with regard to fire, what period is classified as the Christmas season? Is it 2 weeks before Christmas, 1 month before Christmas, 6 weeks before
Relative
Christmas?
to your question to the fire department and when this classifies as the Christmas season, from the time the RGPF launched its Yuletide operation order, we consider this period to be the Christmas season until the expiration of that period.
Mr. Ricker, there is no specific time designated or standardized as Yuletide season. But what the RGPF have embarked on over the last few years is to use the period 1st of November to the beginning of January. Basically, that is what we have been using as our Yuletide season. That can change in any given year based on the dynamics on the ground. This is when we roll out our security plan 1st of November to the New Year period after New Year's, and basically that's for us is our Yuletide period for security operations.
Okay, we thank you very much for your questions. At this point, we wish to bring to a close this press brief, and I take the opportunity to say thanks to members of the public, first of all, for your usual support given to the RGPF. We thank you also for joining us this morning for this important brief. Special thanks to members of the media for your questions and for helping to make this information available to the public. Thanks also to the presenters for their very informative and instructive presentations. And we implore on our general public to make use of this information. If you have any further questions relating to the issues or the concerns raised, please feel free to direct them to the relevant department or contact the Community Relations Department. I am ASP Simon Douglas, and on behalf of the Commissioner and members of the Royal Grenada Police Force, I wish everyone a happy and safe holidays 2022. Thank you very much.